welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am working on Scraplift Crafternoon. This is a hop that I host and create along with my friends, my tribe. We pick a layout each week to scraplift. We get the original creator's permission to scraplift it, and then we link back to the original creator, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube. We've also linked back to someone on Pinterest who had an amazing layout but didn't have an Instagram or YouTube channel, but we still wanted to lift her layout. And so this week we are lifting Scylla over at Choice Bits of Bliss. I will have her social media links listed below, as well as the playlist for this week's hop. I believe everybody is participating this week. I don't think anybody's on vacation. That being said, today is November 12th. We will have a Scraplift Crafternoon for November 19th, and then we are taking the weekend after Thanksgiving off. So we will see you back in December, and I will remind you guys of that as we go along. So let's talk about what I'm doing today. Last week, I created this layout here with my, I believe it's an October 2022 hip kit. And I'm going to create this week's layout using the same kit and some of the same elements. And this is the second page to this lift. It's actually probably more like the first page because it's going to go on the left-hand side. I have already cut down my white cardstock. I took off a 1/2 inch from two sides, here and here. And I'm going to be matting it with this. I will gut this piece of pattern paper because I like both sides, and I would like to use maybe the other side or maybe even the orange plaid again. So I will do that. I pulled in my circle punch because there's circle elements on this layout. There are tags on this layout, and she created her tags from, I believe, pocket cards that were in the collection she was using. I don't have those, and I have tags that are already made, so I'll choose a couple of them. I have this piece of pattern paper to play with. I also have this piece of pattern paper to play with. And then I have an alpha, and I think I'm going to make some strips because if I recall correctly, she had 2 strips going down either side. It's very similar to a layout that I did on Thursday this past week, so you can check that out. That was my Thankful Thursday video for week 2. It's kind of a similar design, so I guess I'm just drawn to this design. I have these chipboard pieces as well. I don't know what I'm going to be pulling from that, but something, and then the alphas as well. So I'm going to go ahead. Oh, and here are the pictures I pulled. There's actually 4 photos. She had a section of photos down the center. Hers were portrait, and so mine will look something like this. I'll probably trim one of these down a little bit to give a little border around it, kind of like hers. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and make some cuts, and I'm going to get started. I'll be right back. So the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to get some stenciling on here that is resembles what I stenciled on last week's layout, because remember I said that this was going to be page 1 of a 2-page layout, and I'm just using last week's Scraplift Crafternoon as a second page, and I did stenciling rather than stamping on my layout. So that is what you see there. Scylla stamped on her layout, which is awesome, and I could have done that, but I wanted to make my 2 pages kind of cohesive, so I went ahead and used the same ink to stencil. Now I'm going to be trimming down that photos. I think I trimmed down 2 by about 1/4 inch each, and I get them on here crooked right off the bat, so I think at some point I actually pause the video so I can fix this because I get them on here crooked and I was getting kind of annoyed with it. But I'm gonna make this orange pattern paper, the tone on tone leaves. That is gonna be the mat for my photo, and then I took that wood grain which I believe was 2.5 inches wide, and I cut it in half. And I'm going to tuck both of those on either side of this longer mat. Now again, she had pocket cards in her kit, and I don't, so I'm using my tags. And yes, I do realize that that is crooked, and I am going to fix this. Like I said, I think I pulled it apart once on camera, and then I stopped the camera to fix it completely because it just wasn't going on correctly. And again, these are photos that were printed by Groovebook. They're terrible and they're thin, and you have to be really careful not to bend them. So I got that fixed, and now I'm going to place this photo mat in the center. I kind of put the adhesive on the top and bottom edge, but left the sides open just a little bit so that I could tuck these two borders in. And it's a good way to use up scraps, and I'm trying to use up scraps as I work these days because I hate sorting scraps into my scrap folders. I do have them, and I do dig through them, but I don't, you know what, I'm not a lazy scrapbooker, but you know, I don't want to make more work for myself. So while I'm using a collection, I try to use up the scraps as I go. Now, of course, this piece of pattern paper was the paper that I matted last week's photo on, and I gutted it. And so I'm going to cut 2 circles out of it with my punch. I'm going to put the blue floral one's going to go down on that bottom tag, and then I flip it over, and I use the white with a little their orange leaf outlines on the other side. Now she had quite a few circles the same size on her layout, and I chose various sizes by using these chipboard buttons here. I thought that this was a great way to incorporate the circles, but also to use up some of the embellishments that are in this kit. I'm moving that down because I saw that I was getting very, very close to covering up my stenciling, and what is the point in that? I do want you to see that, and I didn't want to have to attempt to come back and add more stenciling. So I'm using 3 of the wood buttons on each side, some of the wood grain chipboard hearts, 1 on each side. And I liked this border right here. I thought it was really pretty. And I'm going to use that as an anchor because I'm going to put my title on here. And yes, I am putting a title on here, although the right-hand side has technically lots of wordy bits on it. And it already has the journaling, so I don't have to put journaling on this page. But this is going to be my main title, and all of the others on the second page are going to be my subtitles. And so right now I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. I'm going to pull off these numbers, and she did this on one of her circles. I'm going to put it on my tag, and these photos were taken in 2015, just before Christmas. I think we were finishing up our homeschool semester, and one of the lesson plans I had was to have a tea party, and I think it had more meaning than that too. I think we had specific culture that we were trying to learn about, but I don't really remember because it's been 8 years ago, and I just don't remember. But anyway, it was just like a little fun homeschool activity, and we did lots of things like this in our homeschool. We didn't just do book work. We did lots of hands-on learning. So I'm adding some of these clear stickers. I actually didn't realize I had them, I don't think. They were stuck behind those chipboard stickers, and so I'm like, oh, these work really well, so let's go ahead and use some of these. It gets a little bit more color on the layout, and also allows for me to use up some more of the bits from this kit. So pretty happy with those embellishment clusters at this point, and I think that's all I'm really going to do to it. Oh, I thought about putting these wood grain houses on here, and so I took all the windows out of this one so I could do that. and I didn't like it, so I ended up putting it back. Yeah, it's too dark, and I have enough on here already, so I just put that back. It's not that big of a deal. I can use those another time. I'm going to add a couple of the smaller circles to the centers of those tags, and that's it. All right, I got this layout complete, and pretty happy with the way that it turned out. I mentioned that it's going to be a page 1 for this layout. I tried to bring in some of the colors from this one, like here, and, you know, bringing that navy across so that they'd be sort of cohesive. Not super worried about it. I did not work journaling into this page because this page has it already, and it is for the same set of photos. Otherwise, everything is all done. I know that Scylla put some of her elements up on foam adhesive. I did not do that because I layered chipboard, button stickers, and other elements up here. And I think I squished things down a little bit as well. I also didn't do the stamping. I did the stenciling so that it would kind of match the stenciling I did over here, just so that, again, my pages would go together well. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe. Please check that playlist out down below. Everybody who's participating will be linked in that playlist. And then if there's somebody on vacation this week, I will list that down below as well with their Instagram and or YouTube channels. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.